Classic. Classic Magnus. He comes 1 second before the start of the round. He's got his victuals. Yeah, he's got his hydration, his H2O there. And Praggnanandhaa will have the white pieces in the first game, which puts a special kind of pressure on you. This is a 2-game match. In the old days, the World Cup final was 4 games. And all smiles there from, I think, from only one player. Pragg seems sufficiently relaxed. I think he's having a great time. And will he be having a great time in this game? He sticks with 1c4. The ceremonial first move corresponded to Pragg's actual choice. Here we go.
Yes. Yeah, this actually should come as a slight surprise to Magnus. Pragg has been playing a lot of e4, d4s in the tournament. Yeah, he did play c4 as well. But certainly you wouldn't be thinking about Pragg being the biggest maestro of c4. However, he has done it against none other than Hikaru Nakamura. Shows a lot of confidence. He wants to fight. He wants to avoid mainstream theories. And I also believe that it's nice that Pragg gets the white pieces. When you are coming from a grueling, very nervy tiebreak match, then I think it's very important that you get comfort with the white pieces and you are the one who is setting the tone for that first game.
And we've seen this type of reaction from Magnus Carlsen throughout the tournament. He really takes his time on the first move. You know, he likes to carefully notate all of the game information. There's no rush to execute the first response from Magnus. He hasn't experienced too much time pressure throughout the tournament. You can see him there very methodically adjusting his pieces. And you called this kind of mind games from Magnus Carlsen, making his opponent revel in the pressure of waiting for his first move. Will we see e5, the most principled response? Will we see a symmetrical English? Or will Magnus Carlsen stick to a Queen's Gambit decline scheme with e6?
I'm expecting the first move to be knight f6. It's just simply the most flexible move. You still do not show your cards. You might be able to, after knight c6, to switch to e5 if you want. Yes, but it's all about mind games, and Magnus knows very well that he can play any kind of opening, and he also knows that his opponent is going crazy right now. That, okay, come on, show me what you're gonna play, because you know exactly that before in the preparation you have to kind of consider like 15, 20 different choices of Magnus.
Man, this reminds me of that time in school where the teacher is about to pass out the tests and something keeps distracting my teacher. It talks about what grades people received and then what the weather's like. Just pass out the test already so I know what I got. And Pragg taking a sip of water there. Magnus taking a prolonged period of time, 2 minutes now. And the question that we always ask, is he actually deciding what to play? I don't think there's any chance of that being the case. Pragg has already played c4 this tournament, and there it is, e5, 26 moves. And that means we have to go back to our other game because Magnus Carlsen has made the big decision of keeping the tension with rook fc8. That does not mean that the game is not going to end in a quick draw, but at least it keeps some intrigue alive in this position.
Yes, so let's take a look. Rook b6 was met by rook dc8, rook c1, very natural. Also that Pragg feels that if everything goes according to plans, the way that he calculates, and everything is right, then it does not really matter how much time he has on the clock. What is important that he takes the right decision, he makes the right move, and takes it from there.
Indeed. 16 minutes on the clock for Praggnanandhaa. We are 25 minutes into this first match game of the World Cup final. And what a rich game it's turned out to be, right? You can look at it with holding down the arrow key and you can think, oh, all the pieces got traded. It was a symmetrical pawn structure. But you could divide this game into so many different stages, right? There was the opening stage where both players showed some interesting preparation. Knight f6 from Carlsen, d4 from Pragg. There was that rich middle game with all of those complications between bishop d7 and bishop h3. And then a very interesting endgame where suddenly, Pragg is the one who has to solve a defensive problem. And he's got the final problem to solve. He has to see, Peter, that knight takes d5 idea. When we play it on the board, it's very obvious. But if he doesn't see that move, then he likely won't go for knight d1. But with all the time he's got on his clock, there's no way that he's missing that tactic.
For sure, yes. I mean, it's a forced line. Everything has to go along. These lines, you do understand that you have to activate your pieces. You can't stay, yeah, we have action. Knight b1 on the board.
Yep, and there we go. We're going straight down that line. Rook takes c6 is going to follow. And who will be the one doing the honors? Who will be offering the draw? Hard to say. Hard to say if anybody will offer the draw. They might just keep playing that endgame. But the way
Yes.
Carlsen is looking to the side, Peter, it feels like he might be contemplating a peace offering here pretty shortly.
I don't think that he will offer a draw, but it's more like the position will be dead. Yeah, and we already talked.
Well, we are heading in the direction of a draw on the strength of Prague's ultra-accurate sequence of moves here. Knight e2 and now knight f3. And after e4, I think we're going to start to bail out. The trade on e4, Prague might retreat to d2, and one way or the other, I think the c-pawn will get traded for the a-pawn.
Very likely outcome. There is even some case for a move like knight e5, but just because of the importance of the situation, the match, you don't want to do anything fancy in a position like this.
Oh,
yes, I think
rook
we can.
E1, rook takes a2. I mean, Black's knight is trapped, but tactically Black wins back the knight on d2. And actually, it's Prague who would have to be careful should this position be reached, because you can't win both of Black's pawns at the same time. You'd have to opt for a 4-on-3, which is exactly what you don't want, even if it's a relatively easy draw with the pawn on e4, kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. Instead of rook e1, White should probably opt for the careful rook c2, defending the a2 pawn. And after rook takes a2, after the trade on a2, White picks up the e4 pawn, and technically Black is up a pawn, but it's sustainable because the knight on e2 cannot be abandoned by Black's rook, and Prague is about, I think, to take that pawn on e4.
Would be the logical move.
But hasn't yet made his move, and he's down to 11 minutes.
And move 28. Okay, still 12 moves to play till the time control, and the lines that we showed still consist some spice.
For sure. Yeah, well, thank you, Nijat. Great insights. Congratulations. We will let you rest. We just had a handshake in the Magnus game. Obviously, as expected, that game ends in a draw. Nijat, we will let you go. Second game tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
And there we have it. The bailout, a 35-move draw in our championship game. What a well-played game. Praggnanandhaa with some filigree precision in the endgame as they discuss the position. Really impressive, Peter. I think that just the precision with which Praggnanandhaa handled that final part of the game, it started to feel like Magnus might be putting some pressure, but at the end of the day, a very balanced, well-played affair, lasting just about 3 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what I love about classical chess, and also I feel like it's the duty of the commentators, yeah, to explain this kind of games. There was so much intrigue, there was so much tension involved, all these little nuances, these details, which if one shows some weakness, the other one is ready to jump on and put up the torture for a very long time. None of the players gave the slightest of chances to their opponents. Prague did have the initiative, Magnus then with some incredible precise play in the middle game. With rook b8, bishop